Last week we were all out because we all had issues. But we are here back. Thank you for being hanging with us. We are outside the box live. It's that time again, Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I know we missed everybody last week because I felt like crap.
I felt like crap.
It's not Eastern Standard Time.
Then what is it?
I'm serious. Eastern Daylight Time.
Okay. So now
we don't go back to Eastern Standard Time until November.
We're an hour ahead of Illinois and Texas. But no, we are.
Easier way to say it is just Eastern Time or Greenwich Mean Time -5. Actually, right now -4. So no, that's not easier.
We are live tonight on Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Thanks for hanging with us. Now, 53 years ago today, well, this weekend, I should say, that Agnes hit. Agnes devastated the whole Wyoming Valley. So tonight,
are you saying Agnes or Angus?
Agnes.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like an AC/DC concert came to town.
No. Angus didn't come through yet. No, but those that were here that are watching that went through it, I'd love to hear what you had to say about it. If you remember, I remember stories because I was literally like maybe 8 days old.
Yeah, I was born in the following September.
What's up, Fly Guy?
So I was in utero when it happened.
I was about.
And then
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I grew up in the aftermath, and that's what I remember is, this valley. My memory goes way back. So, I can remember like National Guard on the highway, and I can remember, I have a memory. My short-term memory as an adult with all the medication I take, my short-term memory is now horrible.
But your long-term.
But my long-term memory still does not fail me, and I can remember what this valley was like in like 72, 73. I couldn't get a birth certificate. I still, to this day, I don't have a birth certificate because of Agnes.
Oh, really?
They weren't able to issue me one. I have the equivalent. It's called a vital statistics card. But there were no, I was born at Mercy Hospital in South Wilkes-Barre. I was on the 6th. The maternity ward used to be on the 2nd floor. My mother was on the 6th floor sharing a room with people because they had no maternity ward. It was flooded out up to the 3rd floor.
What's going on, Jim Gates? How you doing? Thanks for hanging. Via Instagram. Yeah, I was like literally 6, 7 days old.
I wasn't even thought of yet.
But yes, if anybody has been through the flood tonight, 53 years ago, love to hear some stories. Also, just want to say thank you to our subscribers.
Yep, I saw that, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, we could talk about that tonight too if you want. Gene was mentioning it before the show. I wasn't watching TV today. Well, I was watching like YouTube and stuff. I was doing stuff. I haven't watched any like local TV. Oh, we got a kitty. I wasn't watching anything today, so I didn't hear about it. Just like literally like 2 minutes ago.
Hey, hi.
What's up, Dan? How you doing?
Hey, Hollywood.
Hollywood?
Yeah, that's his name, Hollywood.
Oh, okay. It's so yeah, Mr. Fred the crewman is not with us tonight. He overdid himself today, so he's home relaxing. Let's see. Yeah, he's relaxing. We might catch him in the chat. But I'm glad you are all here with us tonight. Sorry, last week we had issues. But yeah, what I've started doing was, like I said, I have if Matt P's watching, I don't know. Sometimes he works tonight. That's Fred's brother. I have videos posted all the way up until February 2026. So I'm taking that time to do like more healthier videos, kind of trying to get a little bit healthy. And so far, I guess I'm getting good support, which thank you all. I appreciate that. And if you saw we're gonna have part 3 up tonight at midnight. You'll be able to see part 3. So yeah, thank you for that, Mark. I appreciate it. It's not easy, like trying to do healthy crap. I hear you there, Mark.
I have to go next week and have my my liver checked out. Yeah, I'm having diabetes is creating problems for me right now. My it's impeding my kidney function. I'm throwing back a lot of bad results from my kidneys, and they feel as though it's diabetes basically ruining my kidneys. I mean, like I have edema really bad, and I've had it pretty bad for years, but it's been getting worse. And edema is basically, I mean, that's one of the first signs of the first stages of renal failure. So, renal failure is, for anybody who doesn't know, that's when your kidneys start shutting down. I also have to go because my doctor feels as though I have fatty liver disease, and there's a good shot that it's now like turned toxic.
Oh, no.
So, like when your liver goes toxic, that means that the fatty stuff starts to rot, and it starts impeding liver function. The liver does have an amazing capacity to heal itself, but not when it's rotting faster than it can regenerate.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
So there's, to my knowledge, I'm not at cirrhosis
Well, that's
yet,
good.
but
I'm not red tonight, but I could tell anyway. I don't got the red glow going on tonight.
No, you don't.
Cool.
Wow. Just want to give a shout out to all the new people that are subscribed to the channels. Want to say thank you, everyone who's been with us since day one. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And yeah, it's from back when Agnes hit, my house, I lived in East End, so my house was up on a hill. So my house was safe, and my grandmother's house was safe. And so all my relatives that were in the flood either went to, like on my mother's side, went to my grandmother's house. My dad's side came to my house, but I was on my way to New York with my mother because I was like literally just born, and my mom had complications, and so my dad.
Thank you, Mark.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I was like an infant, but I remember hearing stories. So I saw the TV videos, but I want to hear from people that are out there that actually went through it, who had to deal with all the crap. Mark, the turkey bacon, I couldn't take. Hi, John. How you doing, John?
Hey, John. What's up?
It didn't really taste different from regular bacon. I couldn't really taste the difference. I did mine, which you will see I have a video posting at midnight. First, I did it in the pan, and it wasn't bad, but I did it in the air fryer. The air fryer turned out much better. So yeah, it wasn't bad. I liked it.
probably not going to be too many people around, like who were at least young adults when Agnes was a thing. You know, Agnes hit my mother was like 30 years old when Agnes happened. They're 31, and I mean she's dead now. You know, going on 10 years. I mean, you might get some people. I'm sure John would remember a few things because he would have been a little kid because John's a few years older
Right.
than we are. But for the most part, I mean, it's like finding somebody who was like, you at best you're going to find probably somebody who's a teenager who can remember things.
If anybody's out there that been through it wants to tell their tale, more than welcome to. Now, up in the left-hand side of your screen, the wonderful QR code. Miss Gina, if you want to tell your tale, click on. If you scan the QR code,
It's
Gina's
kind of hard for me to really talk about it. I mean, well, I haven't been in work for 2 months now. I still have over a month until I can put weight on my leg because of the broken leg. And I don't know when I'll be able to get back to work. Then I'll have to start looking for a job. But it's been putting like a financial strain on me. I have 2 car payments left. 2 payments left on my car, and that the one payment's already overdue. I got to get that down. Then I could drop my insurance back, so I'm not paying over $200 a month. It's getting really hard, and it's putting a financial strain on Mike because I'm borrowing the money off of him.
So if you guys scan that QR code, if you can help her out, anything be appreciated. I know it's tough to ask for help because I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it for people. I don't know, like quite a few times. If I see like a call out on Facebook, hey, we put together a GoFundMe, this and this happened to me. I'm always like the first person, man. I'll throw 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 bucks out. I can think of one instance, and it was for a funeral for somebody I considered a dear friend. I kicked in like I think $125, which was like all I could do at the
Right.
time. But I mean, I felt at the time it was it was fairly significant. In fact, I think I might have done 150. But I mean, when I have money and I see something like that, I'm like one of the first people to throw in. And I don't know. I guess maybe the GoFundMe was my idea, so maybe calling on a bit of good karma to try to
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm kind of like trying to juggle her bills and paying and trying to pay my mortgage.
So that's why I figured I didn't want. I mean, I'm if anybody could help her out, throw a couple bucks, y'all appreciate it.
Any little amount is appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody kicked in 5 or 10 bucks, we'd be out of this. I mean, all the people she knows and all the people that follow me on Facebook and everything, everybody threw in like $5. We'd be in great shape.
I put it out on my TikTok. I made a video. I got reactions to it, but nothing came out of it.
Yeah, I know it's tough. I know you didn't think you were going to be knocked out of this, this far, or this long actually. Yep, that QR code's there if you want. If you want to give her help them out.
Any help's appreciated. Thank you.
Some of the money will go towards getting stuff for the cats too.
Yeah, kitties need food.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, my God, you wouldn't believe what I spend on cat food, cat litter.
It all adds up. It all adds up. I was just going to ask you, Mark, how is that Ozempic? I'm my
I
doc.
will take it. They try to.
That might be my next step. I'm on Netflix now.
They try to prescribe it for me. They keep trying to prescribe it for me, and I keep refusing it because part of like, okay, well, you lose weight and all that. You know how you do that? Your stomach muscles are actually paralyzed, and that paralysis can last long after you're off Ozempic. You're literally Ozempic is made from Gila monster venom. That's not good. Uh, I'm on something else. They prescribed for me. It starts with a J. I forget what it
Jardiance.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. I'm on three medications now. And she really hated my response. She's like, "Oh, maybe we should just start putting you on insulin." And I'm like, "Yeah, do it. I'll be able to eat whatever I want then." Because I mean, I just had an ice cream sandwich. Okay, well, hit me up with some insulin. I'll be good. Yeah, I could eat absolutely anything I want if I'm insulin dependent.
So if anybody's on Ozempic or Jardiance, you want to weigh in, we'll talk about that.
I just started the Jardiance today.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I mean it's like a little early to tell.
I know.
Day one, right?
Yeah, day one.
I don't know about you guys, but today was a hot day.
Oh yeah.
Not in this basement. I did go out to feed the cats earlier. It seemed warm.
I was in the kitchen for a few hours, and it was really warm.
So what I'm trying to do also with the journey, my weight loss journey video series, trying to hold myself accountable, and so I'll stick with it. And it's 19. I think 1 shot a week. I've been on it for 8 months. I don't know. Awesome, Mark. I tried to do a jumping jack today, and sadly, I could not do a jumping jack. For whatever reason, my body just would not let me do a jumping jack. I went, shit.
I could probably do one, but when I hit the ground, I don't know what it would do.
So I tried to jump and do it, and my body just would not let me do a jumping jack, and I'm like, what the hell? But
I could do some apple jacks.
In a bowl, milk, yeah.
Grind it up, snort it.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to talk about a specific topic, throw it out there. I'm kind of blanking on topics tonight, except for Agnes Flood. But I do know. I remember hearing a story that my uncle and aunt's house was on North Washington Street, which was was flooded out. So to get stuff out, my father and my uncle went on a rowboat, and they went through the attic roof to get what they could salvage. And their boat, I guess with the current, got pulled away, and they got stranded. They got picked up by the Coast Guard. They had to get rescued by the Coast Guard. That's a story I remember my mom telling me. Oh, there she is. Yeah, so since last week, just working.
My family lived on Lee Park Ave at the time, the far end of Lee Park Avenue, so the water didn't get down as far as them. So they were spared that. The property. That's one thing. I mean, I love it when I see these real estate developers on YouTube. Gina knows I like watching them because it's like, you know, they come to this area and it's like, oh, these hicks don't know the value of their own property. You know, they come here and they feel like, oh yeah, we're gonna buy all this stuff up cheap, and I'm just like face palming and like, dude, you're buying property in a flood zone. You know, you're an idiot. The prop that stuff is going to flood again. It's a matter of time. You know, I mean, like a place like Plains. Do you know why it's called Plains? It's because it sits in the floodplain. You know, that's Plains floods. It's the floodplain. I mean, not all of it.
Some.
You know, certainly, yeah, but a good chunk of it, yeah. I mean, that's you know, I knew a guy, a friend of mine worked for him for many years. Guy owns farmland, and I mean, yeah, it's great, you know. I mean, but it floods every year, and the farmhouse floods every year, but I mean, that's what keeps the soil rich.
Kind of like Shikshini.
You're pronouncing it wrong. It's Hickshini.
Huh.
But no, that was so bad. Like the 44th Cemetery. Metformin pills made me. Now,
There's the famous story, the doctor who buried his daughter 2 weeks prior to the Agnes flood, finding her body in the backyard swinging from a tree.
Oh, that would not.
Oh, that story's everywhere. You know. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Olin just went after my leg.
Ooh, ow.
My bad leg.
Does it say with the bad leg?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I'm crocheting and the yarn just happened to be right there.
Yeah, the 44th Cemetery, a while back when me and False were down there flying the drone, we were talking to the lady, she was like the caretaker, and she told like one section of the cemetery, just all the caskets just got uprooted and just floated down Wyoming Ave.
Oh yeah, I have a picture of that. Like they essentially made a mass grave in the middle of the cemetery and just pushed all the coffins into it and covered them back over.
Yeah, basically. They said they were telling people don't let their kids go down in the basement just in case you end up seeing a dead body. Like that's how bad it was. I was like, wow.
Michael Oxlund, where we live here in Wilkes-Barre, it did not flood in 72. We're far enough away from the river, and there's enough of a hill between us and where it floods.
Oh, I'm in trouble if it floods again. This house that I'm in now flooded in what was it, 90? When West
93,
got flooded. Yeah, this house got it.
96.
I was living over in Exeter, so my house in Exeter it didn't go near it, but this house here that I'm in now, yeah.
That's one thing I always like when I was house hunting, you know, when I was property hunting to find a new place to live. That's the first question, you know, did this place ever flood? Was this place flooded in 72? You know, and plus you kind of know anyway, because if your place got hit in 72 in this city, you are required, you're mandated, you have to take flood insurance. So I don't have flood insurance. I don't really particularly feel I need it. Because, yeah, as Gina said, there is the Hollenbach Cemetery up on River Street between the river and where I'm sitting. And that water would have to get really high to get over. I mean, the Hollenbach Cemetery is like rolling hills. You know, to get over those big, tall hills, that river would have to get really high and then make it down over River Street and down you know,
Right.
Several different avenues. Yeah, Courtright and Culp and Hollenbach and every other avenue that connects with North Main Street to get to us. It just wouldn't happen. I mean, the river would have to be like 200 feet high.
Well, I know, like, my dad
we're all in trouble.
lived a block away from here. And during the flood, he said they saw a little bit of water coming up the road towards their house, but it didn't get anywhere near their house. Like, it got within, like, maybe 1,000 feet. And it was just, like, the little bit, like, at the edge. So they lucked out.
Basically, yeah, like if we got hit with a similar flood today, which, between the levee system and the floodgates and all that, it wouldn't be anywhere near as severe as it was in '72. But say, like, okay, the river crested at I don't know, 60 some odd feet instead of like the 40 or high 40s or low 50s it did during Agnes. If it got up to like 60 some feet and actually, made it over the levee system and spilled into the city again, it wouldn't, like Cheetah said, we would be cut off from downtown. Oh no. What would we do if we couldn't go downtown? I was downtown a week ago because I went and got blood work at Geisinger South. Because you could do that. You could actually go on a weekend and get blood work done. If you're as long as you have standing orders. Which
also you can go to the old Saxon building in Kingston.
No, the old. Oh, okay. I was going to say no, the old Mercy Hospital, but I wasn't aware of that.
Yes, it's Commonwealth now, but it's the old Saxon building. You can get I think up to 2.
Okay, that's Commonwealth Health though. That's not.
Yeah, we're Geisinger.
Oh yeah, we're poor healthcare all the way. Baby.
I got Aetna.
Yeah,
which I don't know how. That's not really great either, but it's something.
I have Federal Blue Cross.
Oh yeah, you're the FEP. You're FEP Blue.
Yep. Yeah, Federal Employee Program.
That's what I work for. Who I work for.
Well, like I was saying, every time I'm there too, like they'll ask me your date of birth, and I'll tell them my date of birth, and I'll say right here in this building, because that building was Mercy Hospital back then.
General.
They're still open?
General Hospital?
Yeah. I thought they were closing because they didn't have funding.
No, they're getting rid of a program, I think, but not the whole thing. So that's what I last heard anyway. I went to the General on a Saturday to get my venous duplex scan. I did it in about an hour. It was all done.
I have to go Tuesday, like I said, to have an ultrasound done on my liver, see how bad it is.
And I should just go to General because, we're 3-4 blocks away from General Hospital?
Literally.
Technically, I could, because, I have Blue Cross. I can pretty much go anywhere I want.
I have Geisinger insurance.
Yeah, I could literally, if I had to, I could walk to General.
Ox, I heard, from what I heard, you're pretty close. It would ruin the view of the valley, or I'd be like, mess with that. Put up a flood system. Yeah, they were gonna build like a dike, and residents voted against it because it was gonna ruin the view of the valley or something like that. That was before I was still living over in Exeter, so I wasn't paying attention to much to it. But yeah, you are correct. You are correct.
The Susquehanna River is either the oldest or the second oldest river known to man.
Let's see what Bing says. Oldest river known to man.
I know, like I said, the Susquehanna is either the oldest or the second oldest. Like they're not sure.
Oldest river in America.
And all I can say is you should see it when it empties into the Chesapeake. They have battleships parked in the Susquehanna. That's how deep it is.
Yeah, they're saying Susquehanna is one of the oldest.
It was an active river during, the time of the dinosaurs and everything.
Oldest river in America.
Well, it's either the oldest or second
That's-
oldest river in the world.
I did a search on the oldest river in America, and it has Susquehanna River, very long river. Yeah.
I have no problem seeing my specialist at Geisinger. They have to see me.
I didn't have any problem. Like I can go to Geisinger or like I can go either or, and I went to Geisinger for I forget what I had to go for something. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too bad because I can't stand your appointments for 7:00, 7:30. You're still sitting in the waiting room going, "Come on, doc, let's go." That just drives me.
Well, you have to wait an hour.
Yeah, and you see the doctor 10 minutes, and they're like, "That'll be $100." Well, I'm not. I'm just saying.
Well, my initial visit was in the emergency room for my specialist.
So, what did everybody do today? Anything special?
Nope. I slept
I cleaned.
as usual.
I went to the Avenue restaurant this morning. It was like I was up at 5:00 wired, man. I was up rolling, getting everything done. So about 9:00, I went to the Avenue. They were packed. I couldn't figure out why they were so packed.
They always are.
But everybody was going to the race today. They're all part of the race. I was like, if I didn't sit at the only reason I got in there quick because I sat at the counter, but they were packed. It was like 9:00, and I was like, holy damn, where's everybody going? The race.
Yeah, that part of 115 gets ridiculous this time of year. I don't know. I've never been to a race.
I've been a few times.
I don't have interest. Watch a car go around a track, a couple hundred times? Yeah.
It's actually better in person, but it does get boring if you watch it on TV.
See, I used to date a girl that lived in Long Pond when I was 18. So I'd go and pick her up on the weekend, and she'd stay the weekend at
Right.
with me. So yeah, I mean, getting through the traffic on a Saturday morning was just horrendous. And somebody taught me a back way, and it was better, but really windy and really, as soon as I had to travel that road, and I forget which road it was called, what it was called or where it was, but as soon as I had to travel that road in fog, that was the end. All of a sudden you got a tree stump coming at you. You're doing like 25 miles an hour, and out of nowhere a tree stump's coming up to meet your car, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not doing this again. Because with the Poconos, you never know when there's going to be fog. Fog could just like that, just roll in out of nowhere. Yeah, say what you want about this city. I mean, I've lived in a lot of different, not a lot of different places, but a few different places. And this really isn't as bad as
Oh,
people make it out to be. Even though I watched somebody get shot right in front of me a couple weeks ago. That kind of sucked. I had to chase a homeless guy
Oh,
today.
really?
Yeah, he was sitting on the stoop and blasting music, and it's like, what are you doing? You own this? Yeah, I do. And I was just about to say, he's like, fine, all right, and he got up and like left. I was just about to say, like, you know what? I'm not in the mood. I'm just gonna call 911. You could talk to the cops, and you guys can sort it out. See, from my perspective, if they're on my property like that, then they become a liability to my insurance. Because if they get hurt or something, you know,
That's
yeah, then they become my responsibility, and I don't want to deal with that crap.
and people don't understand that. Some people don't. Oh, you should just let them do whatever they want.
until they end up like breaking their leg. Then they turn around and go,
Or or sitting in my alley shooting up or something. I mean,
Pissing on the building.
no, that too. Or we had one woman just, her cat was missing. She decided to just walk right into my yard. Oh, I heard there's cats in here. Yeah, I'm like, hi, excuse me. Why are you trespassing on my property? Well, I heard there's cats in here. Yeah, there are. Why are you trespassing on my property?
and they're probably like,
Do you understand I could shoot you right now? I kind of can't, but there's a lesson for y'all. If somebody's on your property, you can't necessarily shoot them. If they're being threatening towards you, you can.
or if they shoot you
But
first,
if they're if they're just meandering around your property,
Oh,
trespassing, you can't necessarily shoot them. Though sometimes you'd like to.
especially some of them around here. And now that they're closing that homeless shelter,
I heard about that.
Yeah.
we're gonna have a lot more people walking around here.
Half of those freakazoids that you see on Union Street are going to be up here. They're going to be settling into Tank Hill, making their
And
camp
it's
up
not
there.
the ones that are truly down on their luck, trying to get better. It's the ones that
No.
don't want the help. That they feel like they're entitled to everything. It's hard,
What do you mean they can't get high in the shelter? What do you mean I can't drink in here?
What do you mean I can't come in while I'm drunk?
Yeah. The one blizzard we had in 90, I think it was 93. I heard there were people refusing to go to the shelter because they couldn't whatever they didn't want to go
Well, they can't stay out late. They have to be in by 7:00. It's, God forbid, they miss out on happy hour.
I'd be like, okay, so I either go out or I have a warm place to sleep. I'd take the warm place to sleep. Yeah,
Unfortunately, right now, everywhere is a warm place to sleep.
A little too warm.
It was I think it was 93. I had a 4x. I had a Blazer, and even though they were banning driving, they said if you have an SUV and if you could help nurses that have to get to work, they were allowing you. They were looking for help, so I volunteered, and I there were people. Even when I was taking someone to the general, and there were people walking the shit. I'm like, buddy, you want to go to the shelter? I'll drop you off. No, no, no. Okay, I can argue with you.
Yeah, I used to when I was like 25, I worked at Turkey Hill on the corner of Boulevard and Hazel,
That's the one that had the car go
right
through
by
its
Oak
front
Key.
door.
Yeah, that one.
My friend's daughter works there, but she was off that day, and because she's like, I'm glad I wasn't working today. Oh shit.
Well, I worked night shift. I worked 11 to 7. And back when they were open 24 hours, like back when things used to be open 24 hours before everybody started robbing stuff. I had a couple of attempted robberies when I worked there. And I say attempted because I foiled them just by saying no.
Give me the money.
No, give me all the money in the... No, seriously, give me all the money in the register. You got a gun? Yeah, I got it right here. Can you show it to me? No? Okay, let's start again. Give me all the money in the register. You got to show me I'm not just going to open the register and hand you money. You know, you see that camera behind me? If you show me, that's how it works. You show me a gun, then I give you money. But yeah, it's just always something. I had a guy walking up to the register the one time, shoving candy bars from the candy aisle in his pockets as he was walking. And I'm like, put those back or I'm going to call the police. Put what back? The candy bars I just watched you steal, and the camera saw you too. Yeah, it was an adventure. But right across the street on Hazel Street was the Salvation Army men's shelter. And that also made things an adventure.
It did.
You know? I don't know if it's still there now or not. I honestly, I don't know. I don't want to know. Most of those guys gave me problems. Basically the ones like they couldn't get in before curfew or whatever, or they were too drunk to get in, or they wanted a drink, and I don't know.
But I heard the shelters are like really strict. But sometimes you gotta be.
They have to be. For one thing, they have children there.
Everybody drops.
You can't have like drunk people or drunk and high stoned people around children. I mean, that's.
Mark, if you guys are able to, you should try and trap those cats and get them TNR'd. Take them in, get them fixed, and you can release them right back out into the wild. I'm sure there's low-cost clinics near you. It'll keep the cats from the cat colony from getting bigger.
At first, I wasn't hearing cats. It's like, wait a minute, they're trapping homeless people, and it's for the best. It's to make sure you don't breed. We don't need more of you.
Especially with some of them that we've seen around here.
I remember when John was still a councilman, and he came down to see me about this or that, like something that was happening on Courtright Street. We're walking down Courtright together, and I'm like, oh, look at this, it's shopping cart season. Like, there's just shopping carts, dead shopping carts, like left all over North Main. That was back before the shelter. The shelter really did a lot of good, like I would always say, we're like trapped. We're where we are. We're right in the middle of a migration pattern. There's a big tent city up by McDonald's on River Street going into Plains.
Okay.
That McDonald's.
It's down behind McDonald's, behind the cemetery.
We had Tank Hill, which is like a small, I guess, offshoot of that. And then you had Home Depot, which, Zare Mountain was an enormous tent city. and you get thrown out of one, they burn you out or whatever, and then you gotta go to another one, and those are the ones that they would travel to, and we're just like right in the middle of the migration pattern.
I remember.
There's also
No, go ahead.
sorry.
I heard a lot of stories about Sarah Mountain.
Yeah, that's another big one. Also, there was like woods right next to that U-Haul storage facility by the old Big Lots up there off of Monday Street.
On Monday
On
Street?
Monday Street.
Mm.
I think they took down like the trees that they were squatting behind,
Then, of course, you have, infamously, the old zoo at
Kirby Park.
Kirby Park. Thank you. At that location right there, right where that zoo is, that was like a high meeting place for like the Lenape Indians, and those tribes would actually they thought that was like the best land, and none of them settled it. But they would all hold it was very sacred land to them, and they would always if they were to have like a big intertribal meeting, that's where it would be held. They would come there by canoe, and they would have their chiefs and everything would sit down and have like their big meetings to decide about a lot of times it's like a misnomer. When the tribes would have meetings together. It was basically just like a dialogue. They didn't necessarily take care of important business. A lot of times they would just sit together and talk because it kept up
Relations.
it kept relations. It kept the dialogue going, and they felt it was healthy that every so often, like in a year, that all the big chiefs get together and sit down and talk about this is what we were doing for the last 2 or 3 months, and basically just sit down and have a dialogue together. Well, this is where Kirby Park was where they did that.
Did not know that.
And yeah, and I mean, to see it, fallen into the state it's in now, where you have that abandoned zoo, and you have
Where was this?
the
Where was
derelicts
this
in
zoo?
the.
I don't remember a zoo being at Kirby Park.
It was down behind the dike, close to the river.
Oh,
Yeah.
Never knew that.
And from what I understand, if you're walking on the other side of the river on the I'd say the Wilkes-Barre side, that Kirby Park's actually considered
Right.
Wilkes-Barre. But if you're on the city side of the river, walking the river common, you could look over at that old zoo and just see Tent City over there. Which there are people in the city, from what I understand, from different city council meetings and everything, because I don't go walking around there. But different people who go to city council and say, "Hey, can you do something about this?"
So Michael Oxlong, which
that
Shields is it? Is it the one on George Ave? So that's the one Mike and I go to.
Yeah, the George Ave. We have wheel locks.
Yeah,
remember Gina?
that's why I was just asking him which one, because
yeah,
there's also the one down on what's that, Luzerne Street? Yeah.
Is it? No, that's
the Shields down by the hospital.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's actually on the corner of Hanover and Hanover and South Franklin, I believe.
There's so many.
Because not South Franklin, but South Washington. South Washington picks up there. It's either Franklin or Washington, but I think it's Washington. South Washington or South Washington.
Franklin.
Okay, you know what? I know it's one or the other, but Hanover Street's the one. That's actually the last time I went to Mercy. Yeah. That's the way I went. I went down by that Shields, and then picked up Hanover Street, and drove right to the hospital. Because the hospital's at the other end of that street.
And Mark, that sucks if you saw it when you saw it happen.
I want to give a shout out to my oldest sister, Eileen. She's watching us via Facebook. Hi. She just messaged me. It's like, hey, I'm watching your show. Yay. Yeah, I remember. Oh, where was it? Down on Kidder Street. There was two, like they had like two tigers, I think it was, back in the day. Can't remember where. Damn it. My
Mark, if you're talking
my
if you're talking that long ago, I'm sorry to interrupt, Jay, but if you're talking that long ago and had a branch of a local bank in it, the only grocery store I know of that ever did that was Price Chopper. They had Pioneer Bank inside the Price Chopper. That's the only one I know, and I've been shopping at George Ave for years.
I think once I get better, Mike, I'm probably going to apply for a job at that gear Shields. They're always looking for
Oh,
help at the deli.
the Dilly Deli.
now, don't they have to hold your job though, Gina? Like where you're at now? Oh,
No, they don't. I was only part time.
oh,
And Turkey Hill, I wasn't even. I was there a month. That's it. I was just getting out of training.
that's right.
Um, they had to take me off the books at Family Dollar. She told me she put it so that I could get rehired if I wanted to. But I wasn't even getting 10 hours a week.
So
Not
what's
even
the
15. I was getting maybe 9 hours, between 9 and 15 hours a week at $10 an hour. It's just not worth it.
Oh, Mark, that's why I always carry a gun with me. You know, uh, I probably said it on this show more than once. All the police can ever do is show up after the fact. You know, if it's life and death and somebody is armed, it's your duty, it's your job to protect yourself. So that reminds me, and I probably said this on the show before too. I have to renew my carry permit. Like it's not out yet, but it's going to be like in the next few months.
And remember, we have a friend who can't believe that people are allowed to have guns in public
Oh
places.
no, yeah.
my sister's?
And
I'm sorry. My oldest sister's.
I was sorry.
My oldest sister's chiming in about she's watching the show, but she also saw where we where we bombed I guess we bombed Iran. Yeah, 3 Iran nuclear sites.
Yep.
Yeah, I have it live when you guys when I first tuned in with you. You said all you could hear is the TV in the background. That's what I'm watching it live.
Yeah, I'm like, and like,
It was basically like 10 minutes before we went on.
and I didn't watch any news today. I didn't even put on anything. I was like, you know what? I got to get crap done, and if I turn on the TV star, I'll be like, my crap won't get done. So literally right before the show, I was downstairs like cleaning my TV room. Like it needed a big time because I wasn't feeling good for those weeks. I just left everything go, and I was like, shit, got to get it done.
Well, between my back and her leg, this place is a disaster.
It's but thanks, Helene, for watching the show.
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming on. Trump's supposed to address the nation about it, about the bombing.
Yeah, at 10 o'clock they said we're almost there. But yeah, Steph, if you're watching, like I said in the post of yours, anytime you ever see me in public, I am carrying a gun. So
Every time you see me in public, I won't have a gun.
and yes, even in private, I have a gun sitting right next to me because you know, like Rick Harrison says, you never know what's gonna come through that door.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, sleep next to it, everything. I always have a 38 special like on my person. Oh, bare minimum. Sometimes I have a 9mm on me. Sometimes I have both. Just made me think of it, Gene. I have to maybe swap things out. Get the summer gun out of the kitchen. The summer gun is my small 9mm.
So you have a summer gun and a winter gun?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. The winter gun is
Ah.
bigger. It's easier to conceal a gun in the winter.
Gotcha.
Now, the one up here is my favorite gun, isn't it?
Nah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's remember
Oh, yeah,
that's
that's my
this
baby.
guy.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, the revolver. Best thing about a revolver is the reason why I have a revolver sitting out is because trigger pull. That thing takes about 6.5, 7 pounds. That is about 6.5, 7 pounds of trigger pull, double action. So if you pull that trigger, you really have to mean it. My 9mm have very light triggers, like anywhere between like 2.5 pounds of trigger pull. You breathe on that thing, it's going to go off. So I don't like to have a gun just sitting out like that, because if the cat gets near it or some shit,
They could bump it, or
well, if they get a paw down in the trigger well, which is that's never happened. But I mean, if by some remote chance it did, yeah, they can make it go boom that way. This thing, there's no way. There's no way a cat could apply enough pressure to that trigger to make it go off.
I want to give a shout out to the 911 people. If they're watching.
I doubt it. They're probably
one mutual friend of ours ran into. Do you remember Brian Black?
He's a supervisor up there, isn't he?
I don't know. I know he works at 911. So does the GF's sister's boyfriend is like a supervisor up at 911 too. Mark, to answer that question, I could kind of answer that question. I ran into FP. I talked to FP Friday. I gave him a ride down to the bank or to the credit because we go to the same credit union. So I took him down with me. From what he's telling me, he's doing okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. I asked him if he's going to be posting more videos because I still follow him, and I caught the last one he said could be his last video. He doesn't know. Honestly, he doesn't. At that point, he didn't know. Time will tell. But no, other than that, he's doing okay. He's doing okay, so he's holding his own. If I see him, though, I'll let him know you were asking about him if he didn't catch it.
I am interested in what Trump has to say. It's, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what Iran's going to do to the United States now. It's like, you know what? There really isn't all that much that Iran can do to the United States. What I'm concerned about is right before this happened, Russia said, we're standing with Iran. They're our ally. If you attack Iran, that's an attack on Russia. And China said pretty much the same thing. Now, China and Russia can do a lot to the United States.
Yeah, Iran, from what I understand, Iran, probably not. But
no, they have very limited military capability. I mean, if they had better, they wouldn't need proxy armies like the Houthis and Hamas to do their dirty work for them. They would just go out and do their own dirty work.
But China and Russia, Yeah, they can do some damage.
Yeah, Russia actually has. I mean, Russia actually has the largest nuclear arsenal in the world.
I thought I don't know how true this is, but I heard Newfoundland, however you want to call it. I heard like they lay low, but I heard they have like one of the top forces in like the world. I don't know how true that is. That's what I heard.
Newfoundland is a province of Canada.
Or was it? Maybe I'm wrong with the name. There was one state, there was one country that just lies low, but if they ever needed to like attack it, they have like some kick-ass forces. I just forget who. I thought it was Newfoundland, but could be wrong.
No, they're not a country. They're a province of Canada. That'd be like, yeah, that'd be like saying,
Texas
you
or
know,
some shit.
Or Quebec, you know.
I can't remember.
Which we all know. Oh, here he comes. He's got Vance and Rubio with flanking him. Let's unmute. I'm curious.
Time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise.
You guys hear that?
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general,
Raisin Kane,
and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, there's the President of the United States, but everybody told him.
Special guest on our show tonight.
At least he didn't drag it on. drag it out. I mean,
No, he's very to the point. Since you guys couldn't see, he was flanked by on his right he had his Vice President J.D. Vance. On his left he had Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and Pete Hegseth, Defense Department Director, to the left of Marco Rubio. And it was interesting. Hegseth and J.D. Vance looked like they were shooting glances back and forth at each other. Rubio looked confident, very confident, and he also looked very Romulan, which he does. And that's my reporting. And Trump looked very Trumpian. He had the Trump face on, and the most spectacular, our military is the finest military. Can you somebody name me a better military than you? No. So it was Trump being Trump, and very short, very succinct, very to the point. We bombed. We got what we were there to get, and I don't know. Like, I would say, okay, the three sites that they targeted was where the uranium was enriched, but that doesn't mean that it hung around after it was enriched. So you took away their capacity to do it, not necessarily what they got out of that program. So I would still say, and if Iran did it, they would be completely stupid. Like winds normally move across the planet from west to east. Israel is west of Iran, geographically. So if you were to bomb Israel, like Tel Aviv, say their capital, with a small nuke, even a tactical nuke, you're going to have all that radioactive material just blowing right across Jordan, Syria, and right back at you, Iraq, Iran. All that stuff is just going to, from just wind, not even storm systems, just wind, just the wind is going to blow that way and blow it right back in your face. But then again, nobody ever said that the Iranians were, particularly tactful. You can't say that they're dumb, because some of the greatest engineering and scientific minds come out of Iran.
I just got a special report here, and through the old text. Chimed in for my sister unofficially. She's my reporter. Here, let's see. Iranian's nuclear enrichment sites were completely and totally obliterated. Okay, that's good news. That is big news. Way she was writing that Iran, I guess, was really close to nuclear capabilities. And we bombed the crap out of them. In case everybody's just joining in with us now, I see the number creeping up a little bit. So yeah, a big hit for the United States. But here's my question. We bombed Iran. Can that start with, said, China and Russia or Iranian allies? What's the odds of them trying to start a war with us? World War III?
Well,
I mean,
we've been living in World War III since March of 2022. I mean, when Russia went into Ukraine, that was officially, in my mind, the start of World War III. Like, when history looks back and looks at this period of instability in the world, and perhaps looks back and calls it a world war. Technically, it's World War IV, because the Cold War was technically World War III. But I mean, people are colloquially going to refer to this as World War III. What Iran has, and what they more than likely have, is during the last administration when they were just letting anybody into this country, and you always heard the term military age men. A lot of those men were from the Middle East. A lot of those men potentially could have been either like like the groups I was talking about before, Hamas, Houthi,
Terrorists.
different satellite armies that the Iranians have throughout the region. We could have sleeper cells in this country right now where, the Ayatollah is basically on his cell phone saying, okay, now attack. Go, do they have a dirty bomb? Do they have, because nobody knows what they came over the border with.
True. Very true.
That's to me would be like, as far as a mainland attack from like Iran itself, that would be the concern. Do they have, agents in the country, which they more than likely do? And how well armed and well organized are these guys? Is it a sleeper cell of one? Is it a sleeper cell of 100? And what are they willing to do? And what are they, trained to do?
It's a full one up.
As far as direct military response, Russia's in kind of deep with Ukraine. I don't know if they would want to pull resources and then try fighting a war with the United States while they're fighting a war with Ukraine. Because then they know too, like, okay, well, if they, because of, what is it, Article, I forget what article it is, Article 2 of the United Nations Charter, attack on one is attack on all.
Yeah.
So you got to keep in mind, I mean, they have their own treaties and they have their own alliances. The I and BRICS, like I'm sure you guys out there have heard of the BRICS, the BRICS alliance. I'm sorry, no, I'm wrong about that. The I is India. But Iran is a lot of the missiles that they're hitting Ukraine with right now are Iranian. Some of them are also North Korean, but Iran is an ally of Russia. Russia said that they will stand with them as an ally. We don't necessarily know what that means. Like I said, since they're essentially, I'm going to use a term that most reporters wouldn't use here, but I'll say it. Russia is balls deep in a war with Ukraine, what essentially amounts to a Slavic civil war, because they're all the same people. They're not going to go like, okay, well, we're fighting essentially. We were fighting. We just got the United States to stop supplying the Ukrainians. Let's turn the heat back up on that again and hit the United States with some, because at any given moment surrounding the United States, there are Russian subs in international waters that have nuclear tactical nukes aboard. Most people don't understand or realize that, but Russia has a huge presence in the world as far as the military goes, and they keep the United States in check with, nuclear subs, both in the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. So if we do anything that really, upsets Russia to the point where they feel the need to go nuclear on us, that's the first wave of the attack. The first wave of the attack comes from a nuclear sub. Launching a tactical nuke against a U.S. city, either depending Pacific or Atlantic. You're talking New York or Los Angeles or D.C. Which, sitting here in Wilkes-Barre, considering that we're sitting right between D.C. and New York City, I wouldn't want to see either one of those cities get hit.
No, not at all.
More than likely, because like as I was talking about before, because of the way winds move from west to east, to minimize damage, because most people are sane in the world. It's like, okay, if we're going to strike the United States, let's hit New York. Most of the damage is going to blow out to sea. And that makes the point, we leveled their largest city, which New York is. New York, by far, is the largest city in the United States. Los Angeles is second place. And I believe Los Angeles has I think New York at last count has something like 8 million people, and Los Angeles has like 5 million, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, New York is by far the largest city in the U.S., and plus you got the advantage of taking out the United Nations and every other. There's so many tactical targets in New York. I mean, Los Angeles is going to destroy itself in the next few weeks, probably anyway. So just let them go.
Yeah, that's some big news right now. And you heard it.
China's the one to worry about.
Sorry?
Sorry?
You guys heard it. Part of it here on the show. Special appearance by nobody.
DJT.
By Mr. President.
Trump's going to call it. Hey, I love your show. Love it.
That would be interesting.
Oh yeah, Todd Jr. He watches all the time. Yeah,
that would be funny.
It would.
Oh, and Barron loves it.
What interception? All right, Ox asking what's interception probability?
That's
Was he talking about?
Intercepting what?
About missiles?
That's what I would assume he's talking about. What's the rate? Well, like.
Or is he talking about what me and Mark were talking about in the chat?
Oh, yeah. Ox, what are you talking about? But I mean, that's a question. If, say, Russia decides to fire the nukes, what time response do we have from our defenses to stop them? I mean,
we have
anti.
we have all kinds of anti-missile. We have stuff that I'm sure that it's one thing the United States military is famous for. They'll reveal stuff during battle. You don't know about it or hear about it until it's needed and it comes to bear. Remember Desert Shield, when all those Iraqi soldiers suddenly just dropped all their weapons and came out of their foxholes with hands up, and that was HARP. That was an energy weapon directed at the Iranian or the Iraqi army, causing discomfort on their skin, causing all kinds of different things to happen to them to make them paranoid and every other thing. They actually hit their army with a direct energy weapon. I know that at a low volume, just to cause discomfort and paranoia. And like I said, I mean, they literally just threw down. None of them fought. They just threw down their weapons and surrendered.
Like, here you go.
Like by the thousands. I mean, that you never see that in a battle, especially on your home, on your home turf. If somebody's invading your land, I'm sure, a lot of people. I always say, if the Chinese communists were marching down Main Street, you better damn well be sure I'm taking a sniper's perch somewhere in my house, and I'm going to pick off as many of them as I can. And I think that would be most Americans.
Oh, I'm sure.
At least I would. I hope it would be. I would hope my neighbors would be doing the same thing with me. Okay, is somebody peeing?
No.
Nope.
Just checking in from our Instagram. We got Sunday's Company, Inc. 1215 testing. We got Jim still hanging out with us. Thank you, Instagram people. Appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have Michael, we have tactical missiles that they're just anti-missile missiles. They're literally, it's like a bullet that hits other bullets. The thing that I mean, Russia demonstrated though that one missile system that they demonstrated in Ukraine was really impressive. It was fast. If those things were intercontinental ballistic missiles, with a nuclear payload, um, that entire region would have been incinerated within less than a second. I don't know. I don't want to see a war between the United States and Russia. I don't want to see a war between the United States and China. I didn't want to see this. I'm still. It's like, okay, I'm glad it was successful. It's my country. I'm going to
Right.
stick by it. But I don't agree with the decision to do it. Yeah, Iran's a problem. And I'm sorry, but so is Israel. Israel went into this half-cocked, I believe. It's like, okay, well, the 60 days are up. We're taking the initiative. We're going to go in and we're going to bomb. And they did it without any kind of
casualties.
To my knowledge. Well, no, they did it without any kind of consultation with the United States. Like, oh, we're going to go in and do this. No, it's like, well, we're a sovereign government. They're a sovereign government. They picked a fight. They should have known better. We're going to go in and do this. And they basically told the U.S. to piss off. And then now we're involved.
You're right, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was talking about earlier. We could have all kinds of Iranian sleeper cells in this country right now. Iranian, Houthi, Syrian. I mean, we have so many enemies in the region from so many decades of interference and nation building over there. I'm sorry, but I mean, that's formerly the British Empire. If anybody has any kind of say or interference or whatever, it should have been the British. It shouldn't have been up to us to be in there, nation building and enforcing borders, because I mean that's all Kuwait was. That was Saddam Hussein found an old map where, because a lot of people got cut out of Kurdistan was erased off the map. Kurdistan comprised part of Iraq and Syria and Turkey. Well, when the British came in and redrew the borders, they said, we don't need this country anymore, and they just drew them off the map. Well, Kurds were really upset about that.
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of dynamics in the situation, and a lot of it comes from, look at the disaster of India. India was an absolute disaster by the British Empire, what they did, how they left it behind, because before, Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh were all one country called India. And they decided, well, there's a lot of fighting between the Hindi population and the Muslim population. Why don't we just divide them all up? So they took a portion of Muslims from the eastern part of the country and moved them into a region they called Bangladesh, and then they took all the rest of them in the western part of the country and moved them into Pakistan, or what they ended up calling Pakistan. These are people that had, some of these people could trace their lineage on the land back 10,000 years. And they just got uprooted by the British government and moved to another place and said, this is your homeland now. They weren't happy. They still are very unhappy. And that actually, I mean, eventually between Pakistan and India led to nuclear proliferation. I mean, both countries have the bomb now, and they're willing to use it against each other. They're the same people. They just have different religions.
So it could get scary.
I'm sorry, I'm off on a tangent. You get me on geopolitics.
Oh, it's interesting because I history and no, that's fine.
And of course we're living through a geopolitical situation right now.
Well, on a positive note, I got a knee scooter that I'm borrowing,
Oh, good. Was that the one where
so I can try and do some things.
wait? So it's like you kneel on like your right leg would kneel on the scooter and you kind of push yourself around. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I see them.
It's got like handlebars. It kind of looks like a little bike with a longer seat for your leg to go on. Luckily, my brother mentioned it to his one coworker, and she's like, "I can let her borrow my husband's. He had it from when he had his toe amputated."
Ouch.
I'm like,
oh, that's why he wants it back because he has more toes.
Maybe.
But I want to see Gina get like one, like a little flat, like the hat that Brian Johnson from AC/DC wears. I want to see her get like one of those hats and get some newspapers and put them on the front, and go scooting around the neighborhood throwing newspapers on people's porches. And stand on the corner of Court right over there saying extra paper, read all about it.
No, I just want to throw them at people.
What's up, Venger?
Or put on the transatlantic accent. I love the transatlantic accent. If you ever listen to how people talk, like in the 30s and the 40s when they were on radio and then television, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. Here's the news. The Captain Exposition kind of talk. Tonight, Trump bombs Iran. What does that mean geopolitically for the rest of us? This is a fine kettle of fish.
Kind of sound like Howard Cosell.
Oh, he was part of that. Like I said, there was a point where if you wanted to speak and you were going to be on radio or television, it was an accent that you would learn. You would put it on, basically. Thanks, Venger. It's the Mike Show with me. I'm Mike. It's the Mike Show, and I got lots of good guests.
Hi, Venger.
Well, yeah, the transatlantic accent was just like, I love it when well, this is a fine kettle of fish that you've gotten us into.
This is Howard.
Venture, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, when you said that, the thing upon my head was, this is Howard Cosell. How's doing, Melody? What's going on?
Well, see, I was thinking more like Walter Winchell.
Remind me of Howard Cosell.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. Let's go to press. Yeah, Walter Winchell. He was very big into the transatlantic thing.
Oh. No, you're
sorry.
Good.
It's like a little melody I came up with in my head when I was about 5, and I still sing it to myself sometimes.
Molly just jumped down to make her rounds. Right, Molly? She's patrolling the upstairs, make sure nobody breaks in. Well, so what's going on, Melatonin? How you been? I didn't see Marcus tonight. He might be working, though. He works the late shift.
And there we go. It's now the Mike Show.
Mike, our political analyst. My next review. Let me take a look and I'll tell you. Said I got melatonin. I got
Well, you know what, Michael? There is a school of thought that says that we are all dead, that this is the afterlife, and it's actually hell, and you have to figure your way out of it.
We got that part right.
And that is the point and purpose of this existence, is to figure your way out of it. But you got to do it within legal means. You can't, you can't just put a gun to your head and say, "Oh, I got the way out." Nope. You'll come right back here, and you'll just have to do it again.
be like, damn. The melatonin, June 27th, J&J Restaurant and Bar. Part of my hot dogging series.
Oh, we know people who work there.
I don't know. Does he still work
J&J's
there?
Deli out in Dallas. Well, I thought they both
I don't
did.
know. I know he's trying to get his own business started up.
Nothing wrong with
No.
that.
And for people that are watching my 300-pound life journey, I have a video popping up at midnight. Part 3.
Mark, you became a major target again, not only because of that, but because Trump wants to start building ships again. And in order, that's one, there's one thing about Trump, there's always a method behind his madness. And that is the method right there. He wants to be, a nation that builds ships again. In order to build ships, you need a lot of steel. And we're not going to do that if another country owns our steel industry. So, yeah, let them buy into it. Let them make profit from it, but they don't control it. But yeah, it does make Pittsburgh a target again.
Steel City.
Well, where we're sitting, we're actually a nice target.
We're actually like right in the middle of a bunch of targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, because International Airport, the Susquehanna Nuclear Facility in Berwick. That's people don't realize it, but energy gets stockpiled. We supply energy to Jersey, we supply energy to New York through the Susquehanna Nuclear Facility. So if you were to bomb Berwick, you would take power out for a good chunk of the Northeast.
Oh, excuse me. Joey, you'll have to just thanks for hanging out with us, Joey, tonight, Joey. Joey, let's see.
You'll have to tune in and find out.
Watch. No, it's just let's see.
Shall we play a game?
Yeah, they I think they redid that movie, but it wasn't big.
I didn't realize they redid that. No. Let's play Global Thermal Nuclear War.
Melatonin and Speedy. I got, if you just tune in. I got videos uploaded, ready to go through Jan up till February. So I got a lot of content coming out. Plus what I'm doing now with the exercise videos. So yeah, it's a challenge.
Excuse me.
But it's in a good way challenge.
Given all that we have going on around here lately, I should have more coming up, but I don't. I got like a backlog of video.
This is next one, J&J Deli. Oh, the GF just chimed in. What's the GF have to say? Let's see. We are now at war with Iran. Channel 6. I'm assuming that's 16. She has service electric.
Well, I mean, I'm watching it live on ABC News. You know, yeah, I mean, generally when you drop bombs on somebody, it usually means you're at war with them.
Where is Skeeter? That I don't know. I haven't really talked to Skeeter lately. So
you see him go live every now and again.
I mean, he does a lot of fishing, which is great. I'm not really into fishing, so it doesn't catch my attention.
MAGA Mike now.
I saw that too.
That's it. That's interesting.
Wait, where do you see? I missed that.
Speedy Clax.
MAGA Mike.
27.
We miss FP. Why'd you replace him with MAGA Mike?
Well, to answer that question, I didn't replace anybody with anybody.
Oh, there was quite a long period of overlap there.
It's FP decided he didn't want to do it anymore. Basically what it came down to. He wanted to do his own thing, and that's good. I still talk to FP. I see him just about. I don't see him all the time, but I see him from time to time. Nah, him and I are cool. Skeeter on the bottom. I honestly, I don't know melatonin. I have no idea.
I just think MAGA Mike is funny because I mean I'm independent. You know, I mean, honestly, I think this whole decision to bomb Iran is just wrong. You know, I don't agree with this at all. I don't agree with any time the United States interferes with the affairs of other countries. I don't agree with it. I'm just not somebody who's going to sit here and arbitrarily say, Orange Man, bad, very, very bad. Yeah, there was plenty of things. I mean, I could go back. Like, there's actually plenty of things now if you want to talk, like, Democrats. There were plenty of things that Obama did that I totally agreed with. There were plenty of things that a lot of things that George W. Bush did that I thought were absolutely horrible. In fact, I would have to say he's probably one of the worst presidents in modern history. I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I've voted both ways in my life. I'm independent. You know, I agree with whoever I agree with. You know, and it's unfortunately in our election cycles and systems, you're generally trapped by not the lesser of two evils, but by being forced to vote for the evil of two lessers. There are plenty of other people, I think, in this country who could run for office and just don't, because look at Elon Musk. Who would want to get into politics and literally ruin their business or ruin their whatever, ruin their life?
I heard at one point, I guess like Tesla stock like dropped.
Yep. And he wasn't even in any kind of, you know, he was just in a presidential advisory capacity. I mean, Trump has actually, from what I understand, he's lost a great deal of his personal wealth and personal fortune because of his foray in politics the last 10 years. You know, you're certainly not doing it because you're in it for the money.
It's no, no.
So I'm sorry, but calling me MAGA Mike is kind of funny to me, a bit unfair. I did vote for the guy 3 times. I won't lie. I did vote for him 3 times. But that's only because, you know, the opposition was so bad. I mean, Kamala Harris? Really?
She would talk to them like they were children.
Well, she talked to everybody like they were 5 years old.
Exactly.
And the only reason I could think of for it is because that's probably how she gets her briefings. They try to explain world events to her like she's 3.
Yeah, I agree with the chat.
I don't know.
Elon should not
Yeah, I
have made
agree with you,
business and
Andrew.
politics together. I mean, personally, I'd never own a Tesla, just because I would never buy an electric car. Give me good old gas.
They're not bad.
I mean, here's how I look like. You have to charge it up somewhere. Like maybe if I had like a house with a garage where I could like, gotta go out and charge the car. I could do it in the garage. But like where I live,
That's what my cousin has. He has a Tesla, and he had a charger port in his garage.
like where I live, you can't park on my side, so you have to park on the opposite side of the street. I don't have like a driveway or garage, so it's like it'd be like running the extension cord out. Gotta charge my car. Yeah, no, I'll stick with the gas. And I did see it.
I hear you. I could actually, I could facilitate it here. Like if I really wanted an electric car, my garage actually had electricity at one point, but right before I bought this place, the roof caved in, and they cut all the electrical off. Like they literally cut the wires.
Oh, damn.
But I was talking with an electrician when I first, I had some code things I had to, get done here, and I was asking him about, getting electrical out to the garage. He told me he charged me like in and around. Now this is back in 2020. He charged me around $600 to do it. But I could have like up to code good electrical out in my garage. So I mean, like I could feasibly, if I really wanted a Tesla, I could get that done. But honestly,
Some of them aren't bad looking.
my experience
cars,
with
but some of them are really ugly too.
I know you're one of them. A lot of people hate the trucks. I think they're pretty cool looking. I like them.
I saw an actual Cybertruck, like in reality. I looked at it, I went, I'll stick with the good old truck.
I had one blow me off. On 81 in the rain. Scared the living shit out of me. But it was like, that was pretty cool. I like
I think
that.
they're ugly.
But I wouldn't want to own one.
Hey, I'll buy a gas operated car until I die, or until they stop making them. So don't go buy used.
Yeah, I still buy used. Mike, I'm sure Kamala is drunk right about now. It's 1 o'clock somewhere. That's what she's saying.
Good for her. I miss those days. Friday, Saturday nights going out to the bar.
I'll tell you what, I don't miss bar life. And in fact, like with all the medication I'm on now and stuff, the gabapentin just kills me. I mean, I'm to the point now. I'll sit here. I'll start sipping on Yukon Jack, and I'm just like, after a few sips, I'm just right where I'm sitting right now, just
Melatonin, I did not know that.
Joey T, I think it looks more like a dumpster than a metal trash can.
I don't know. I like it. It looks like futuristic. Okay, let's put it this way. I can imagine myself with my right hand on the wheel, left hand out the window, yelling "Cobra!"
Actually,
and putting Cobra insignias on it and stuff.
that would be cool.
That's what it looks like. It looks like a G.I. Joe vehicle to me. I love it.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, you're right.
Or better yet, put a Decepticon sticker. But yeah, I don't know. Like Jay, I agree with you. I mean, like if I were going to take a long trip and have to worry about charging it like midway through or some, I think the technology is interesting. I just don't think it's quite there yet.
Or have I know there's some cars out there, I forget which brand it is, but you could go either way, use gas for a long trip, or if you're just cruising the city, just use the electric.
Oh,
I forget which manufacturer.
Toyota
Oh, is
Prius.
it?
Yeah, the Prius does that. Actually, my car, the Spark, the reason why it's called the Spark is there's it's supposed to be an electric vehicle. In California, any Chevy Spark is an electric vehicle. They're mandated. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy. I mean, I get something like 50 or 55 miles to the gallon on the highway, with my car. I think I put $10 a week in it, and that's because I'm back working 5 days a week in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally spend $10 every week on gas. Can't beat that shit. And since I folded the back, because I never really have, Gina's basically my only passenger. I folded the back seats down into a cargo area, so I took half the seats out, like the bottom part comes out, the headrests come out. There's a panel in the back that comes out, and I got it all sitting in storage bins and stuff. And I have the back of the car as a car. I did that with my Tracker too when I owned one. Just had the back strictly as a.
I remember that.
Well, mine was the Chevy Tracker.
Chevy at that, because originally it was Geo. I think Chevy bought them out.
Yeah.
The Geo Tracker.
Oh no, they were a GM subsidiary to begin with. They just started branding them Chevy because they figured that they would sell better as Chevys.
And did they? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a 4-door version of the Tracker and a 2-door, which I own the 2-door. The 2-door was actually a Suzuki Samurai with a Chevy grill on it. In fact, I remember when my car got stolen and I was banging out the front quarter panel because somebody rolled it. I took the front quarter off and I was banging. Everything underneath said Suzuki.
It was funny years ago.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say the Vitara was I'm sorry, the 4-door Tracker was actually a Vitara.
No,
I'm sorry,
okay.
Jay, I interrupted.
I remember when I used to work for early Motor World, and when they bought out Lexus. Literally, Lexus is just an overpriced Toyota. It's funny because we're pulling all the parts. We had to go over and move all the parts from there to Motor World, and they're all Toyota parts. Yeah. They're all Toyota, yeah.
I believe it. Yeah, their Motor World's not moving to the mall.
No, I saw that. So what will happen to the mall?
It's a good question.
There's still a lot of stores open up there. But it's really difficult. Have you driven around that mall lately?
No.
Their parking lot needs to be totally redone.
It was never good. Though.
It's
I mean,
a lot
it was never,
worse.
ever.
There's
It
a
was
lot more
always...
sinkholes and a lot more potholes.
I drive through there quite a bit because it's like when I get out of work, rather than doing the loop-de-loop to get onto 81 South, like when I go to Wegmans, you know, to go like the loop, because I mean, with all the construction around there, for one thing, on 115 and 81, it's horrendous to get onto 81 South in that, like on 115 right now. So then your other option is like, okay, you can go up by the mall, turn left at Sheets, and then go all the way around on Mundy Street. And that's a lot of lights. That's a lot of people changing lanes. Everybody looking to get into Wilkes-Barre around 6 o'clock, because they're all coming home from work. I just cut through the mall. I go down to that light, hang a left. There are no other lights after that until you hit Mundy Street down by the old strip club.
Yeah, I heard they closed too.
That's yeah. For the first time in my lifetime, I think there's like no strip clubs in Wilkes-Barre. Wilkes-Barre is now stripperless. Sign of the times. Nobody can afford strip clubs anymore.
Even the strip.
The one late.
Even the strippers.
Gina, you know Mary Ellen from the Crime Watch. Yeah, her daughter worked there.
Well,
And before you say anything, I was going to say now, before you say anything, like this is Mary Ellen talking right now. She's like, before you say anything, she's a bartender.
Stop. Hey, I tried it. I tried doing it once. I lasted a week.
And that's a week that I missed that I'm really sorry.
We weren't together yet.
I know. That's why I'm sorry.
It was back when I was really skinny.
I was a bouncer at Toppers. I worked for Lee Patterson back in the day.
Back in the day, for being like a nudie bar, Toppers was pretty like decent looking. So it didn't look like your average like shithole. Toppers actually he had that.
Underneath it was a shithole.
On the outside, it didn't look bad.
Yeah, when all the lights came on, you could see just how shitty the place was.
Well, because also that area wasn't that good to begin with.
Yeah, and here I am sitting in the alley behind Toppers with $100 in ones in my pocket.
Oh, you were the doorman?
People. Yep. Yeah, I had a bar stool and a little clicker to click how many customers we had that night.
No, the good old days.
I don't know. I didn't like sitting in that alley with unarmed with like over $100 in my pocket. $100 is worth a lot more back then.
Oh yeah. DoorDash to teasers. Nice, Joey. Nice.
Mark, there was a joke about it, and I think it was like the third lethal nut. What was that? With the funny guy, Leslie Nielsen, Naked Gun 3. They actually made a joke at the end of the movie about that. And one of these days, the Democratic Party's going to put up a candidate that's worth voting for. Honestly, I don't think they had a candidate. The last candidate they had that was actually, in my mind, worth voting for was probably Al Gore. I liked Al Gore back in the day. I don't like him very much now, but I mean, back then, he seemed like a smart guy. Not that Obama is not a smart guy. He's a very smart guy. He just wants the wrong things, like communism.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even. No, I didn't see Susan tonight. Now that I think about it.
I remember her saying she wasn't well.
I know last time I talked to her, which wasn't it was a little while ago. Yeah, she wasn't doing that good. She wasn't doing that. So prayers goes out to Susan and her family. But
I remember the one time when I worked at Toppers, the guy from the Pleasure Dome was offering me money to try to lure me away.
was it sick?
You know, he was. Yeah. Yeah, he was trying to get me. He's like, he's come on, you're getting shit pay here. I could give you. I'm like, dude, doesn't matter what I'm getting here. I got to drive all the way out to your place. I got an 8-cylinder Chevy van, man. That's gonna kill me in gas.
I remember like years ago. Not Lee, but who was I guess he'd be like the manager guy.
Joe?
I think his name was Joe. I can't remember.
His brother was a bouncer too.
Like, okay, so Lee was the owner. It was
Right.
I guess he was like the manager. He was kind of tall, thin, if I remember.
Yeah, his name was I forget Joe's last name, and I wouldn't mention it here if I remember. But he was like the bar manager.
His name was Joe. Was that Joe?
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you drive up to so and so and pick up?" One of the local hotels had some of the girls that I guess were out of town coming in. Could you run a pick up?
Well,
So like go to this hotel. Yeah, so I come back. He's like, "Here, you got a couple beers on me. Here, thanks." Yeah, no problem.
What it was? Lee had two clubs. He had Toppers and Wilkes-Barre, and he owned. I forget the name of the club that he owned, but it was out in Central PA, in Selinsgrove. He owned a strip club in Selinsgrove, and what he would do is periodically, to keep everything fresh, he would switch the girls around. He'd put the girls up in a hotel, and he'd switch them around for like a weekend or
So
something.
it's like, can you run up and pick up some at Hotel A? Next couple, I'll give you beer for the rest of the night. Okay. Yeah. Man, those were the days, let me tell you. Those were the days. But, Susan's getting tired. Oh, man. But,
Well, it is 11 if you wanted to wrap it up, man.
let's wrap it up till next week. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us. I want to thank you two for hanging tonight, too. I know last week we were all sick. We were all incapacitated. Couldn't do it. I felt like crap. But glad to be here tonight. Catch us all next week.
And if you're watching,
Be
the
blessed,
QR code,
everyone.
I'm actually changing my name before I forget.
the Mike Show.
MAGA Mike.
Yeah, no, I'm going beyond that.
All right. We'll see everybody next week. Be blessed. Stay safe, everyone.